And now, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated for a few moments. Thank you so very much for joining in this honor celebration. It's a time for a good time, and I'm just going to say it's time to have a great party. Because we have witnessed the most outstanding opportunity. Excuse me. I just think of what we are and what we heard. Everything about what it takes to make South Dakota what it is. So it's a time to just party and recognize. I'm going to do one other thing with you. Now remember, there's a code. It's part of the Acts of Excellence that I'd like you to go to, but I don't want you to forget it. So what is it? SDExcellence.org. Wow, you got it. It's now my privilege to introduce to you a very special person. She is the president and CEO of the South Dakota Hall of Fame. Greta has some remarks for you and some important information. Greta?
Thanks, Dave. How would you like to follow that? I'm not going to attempt to. They are amazing people. And some of you may not know, in my previous life, I was a librarian for the city of Rapid City. Over 25 years as a librarian in a couple different places, and I have the best job ever. As a researcher, to be allowed into these folks' life and to be able to convince them, and thank you, Kristen, it took a long time, but I think we're kind of getting there, but sharing that story and letting others be a part of their lives. And you know, in many ways, that storytelling, that is the market, and we've got a cap on that. I just have a couple of remarks. I will remind you, two housekeeping items, that after my remarks, the bids will be up on the screen, and then you can purchase your items and pick them up at the registration table. And in the interest of a green environment, we recycle all of our name badges, so there's a basket out there at the registration desk too. Our mission is big, and it's a challenge. That's just the kind of expectations we have of each other. We believe that excellence is inclusive. It's built from blood, sweat, and tears, growth from setbacks, and now more than ever, the civic engagement of our diversity. We also believe that excellence happens every day throughout South Dakota. And you've heard a number of things about our program, the Acts of Excellence you've seen in the hallway, the examples of those that the board members have put forward. We are very excited about making this real throughout South Dakota and putting tangible events together. I have the honor and privilege of doing that with our 5 programs. We are the primary source in this state, and in many cases, the only source that maintains, digitizes, and distributes the achievements of over 700 living and deceased South Dakotans. We have been an organization for 42 years. On average, our information is picked up several times a week by the media sources, and it's used throughout the year in classrooms across South Dakota. These achievements are stories of taking risks, people that are interested in facts and enthusiastic about those facts. They have a love for South Dakota across the generations, and above all, when they lose their way, they find that silver lining. What makes these stories and information so important in the times that we're in is because we've got overload and misinformation. Being able to, across the generations, and importantly for our youth, to have real life achievements to build this culture, we can take care of what's happened with divisiveness and misinformed thinking. We have that gap through these people and through their stories. The induction ceremony is about the state's Legislative Hall of Fame. It's what South Dakota has over other states. They get it right. They understand that 42 years ago that holding up those that represent excellence is what set a standard, and it provides a human connection to mentors and leaders. So I want to conclude my remarks with a challenge to each of you. Carve out the time to know their stories. Now, we went old school for you. You've got a paper copy. We believe in that. But we have all of their stories digitized. And just remember, one of my mentors said to me, look, there's 26 hours in the day. Use them all. But that digitized information, there are searching capabilities by name, by place, by year, by category, any way you want to think, because information is power and digitization is global. And when you read about them, take the time to share that with someone younger. Make it real in their lives. That you can overcome barriers, that you don't have to have an idol in a celebrity. Most of them have accomplished much more. And that you can do that in South Dakota. Be the message for the culture of excellence. And take the time to write a couple of paragraphs when you see someone doing something in the same way and let us know. We want to honor them, and we want to build this culture one act at a time. Excellence is about you, your neighbor, and reaching out. That's what each of these inductees have done. They've carved out the time, they've wiped the tears, and they've made life real and persistent. It's an honor and a privilege to serve you, South Dakota Hall of Fame, and the state of South Dakota. Thank you again for your support, and this concludes our ceremony.